I like to throw on just like classic movies, or like even those like kind of culty, you know, like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, like those kind of movies that you just watch and just like trying to interpret what somebody else is trying to communicate in an art form. And then, you know, somehow...
you're watching Donnie Darko then, if that's the case.
Yes, everyone, yeah, that's a classic.
Only when we're sleeping, you're taking my side.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your man, Ricochet, and we're sitting down to chop it up with my guy, Anders. What's happening, brother?
Thanks for having us. It's good to be back.
Yeah, we've done this a few times already.
For sure.
Yeah, it's not our first rodeo.
This is home for me.
A lot of new and interesting and exciting things happening with you. First of all, let me congratulate you on the deal with Warner. You were an independent artist up until this point. How does it feel having a major behind you?
I couldn't tell you that yet because we're just starting out and we're about to have our first release together. But you know, to me, this is the move that made the most sense at this point in my career, and it's just what I thought was the right thing to do.
Yeah, well, talk to me about that a little bit, because you know we're in an era where we hear a lot about being independent and owning your own masters, and I hear that a lot from artists, but I don't think they get the full picture of what it means to be independent versus being signed. So like, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of, like, obviously just with all the social media and you know, everyone's an expert in music now, so everybody obviously preaches independence and whatnot, which is true. Like, you should always seek to own, you know, everything that you wish to and that you can, but there's so much work that goes into creating success that, you know, it doesn't hurt to have partners, to do things with people if it's the right partners. Right? Obviously, you just hear stories of, you know, just things gone sour and not good for artists, which is why, you know, some people are so against it. But I don't think it has to be like that. If you're in the right situation, you've got the right things, you know, going for you.
Now, do you feel like this takes a little bit of weight off your shoulders and allows you to focus on the creative process a little bit more?
Absolutely, because before, you know, you're juggling everything as an independent, like literally everything as an independent artist. So it's been nice having a team to kind of for that support, that crutch. And it just brings a lot more. It brings a lot more to the table in terms of what you can do, and you know, the ideas that you're able to execute.
Now, you know, another thing that you hear at times, or people have maybe the misconception, is that you sign with a label, they're gonna force you to do things that you're not comfortable doing. They might take your music and put it in a different direction. I get the feeling that's not the case here. We kind of spoke about that a little bit off camera. Has it affected your creative process at all?
I wouldn't say so, no. I feel like I'm still very in control of my creative decisions.
So for everybody out there with the whole like conspiracy theories, nah, a label will allow you to do you when it's the right situation.
I know why you're out here playing, dancing on your own. I can tell you're lonely, but you didn't come along.
You got the single out, Come With Me. Big vibe. When I heard it and I seen the video, it gave me the feeling of your first big single, I Don't Want Your Love. Talk to me about going in this direction, because you know, there's two different vibes to Anders. When you ask me, you got that street dark sound, and you also got that up-tempo kind of like hot summer day, like in the video, going for ice cream or whatever, you know what I mean? So talk to me about this new single.
I just wanted a single that felt good. Obviously, it's coming out in the summer, so I wanted to feel good music. I love feel good music. It's just music that you know, you bob your head to, that sounds good, that you want to move to. It's, you know, it's got a good rhythm. To me, there's definitely two sides to my artistry. You know, there's the darker stuff, the more moody, you know, heavier sounding stuff. But for me, like there's two sides to everybody, right? You can't always be stuck in one mood. You're not, you know, you're not always in this mood and always in this mood. You know, we're human. We go up and down, and that's the same as an artist, right? I go up and down when I'm in the studio. There's times when I just want to, you know, be in the studio and just go hard, and there's times when I just want to, you know, be a little more soft-footed and create things that are more lighter. Like, it's just a part of the process.
Do you feel like being a dad changes you in the way you approach music? Because you know, from your first project to now, a lot has changed with you. You've matured. You're not the same person. A lot of people, I think Jay-Z, you know, once, don't quote me on this, but it's like, what do you want me to be, the same dude forever?
Yeah.
You know, people grow. So like, has being, you know, becoming a dad influenced the way you approach music?
Not so much in the way that I like create it, but more so in the way that I write.
Right. How so?
All my writing is based on lifestyle and experience. So, you know, you're talking about when I started making music, just the environment I was in, what I was used to doing at the time.
Right, because we would see each other out and about, you know, a couple bottles in the hand,
For sure.
going crazy all the time.
3,
Now
4,
when I look
5
at your
a.m.,
social
yeah.
media, I smile because I can relate, because I see you with your family, maybe on vacation or something, and I know that must, you know, have an influence on you, of course.
Yeah, like my lifestyle is obviously different. I'm not partying as much. You know, I'm a lot more mindful of my health.
Right, you're not trying to get the dad bod going.
I'm trying to keep a little bit in shape, you know. My mental health, like
Right.
I focus on that because you gotta stay sharp. You know, you have kids. Once you have
Right.
kids, you can't.
It's a game changer.
Yeah, I mean, I can't be waking up hungover and not available for them. You gotta balance that, right?
Right.
So,
Well, how do you find that balance then? Because it's not an easy thing to do. I'm dealing with it right now.
For sure.
It's a losing battle for me, but
you gotta sleep earlier for sure.
Right.
My bedtime moved
Right.
way up. Some people say like having kids, okay, then you're gonna miss out on your life. Like my life
No, it
got
gets better.
Yeah, I don't want to be out anymore.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that.
You know, I've had a good phase of that. Partied, I did my thing. I've, you know, put in my hours in on King Street. Like, I'm good.
I'm loving the maturity. I'm loving the maturity.
30 on me. All I ever wanted was to do it like Michael. Got my money up, now I'm living like the white folk.
You know, what else I wanted to talk to you about is your background, your cultural background. You're Vietnamese and Chinese.
Yeah.
And we're in a space where there's not a lot of representation. That's starting to change slowly. You know, artists like yourself, Killy. What does it mean to you to represent the Asian community, especially in this space, in the hip hop R&B world?
We're seeing a lot more of it now.
Uh-huh.
I mean, when I was younger, definitely was very scarce.
Right. Well, I can't even think of anybody like.
No, well, not in like North America.
Right.
There's obviously like rappers in Asia,
Of course.
in their own, you know, in their own domain. But yeah, to me, just being able to be a representation, you know, hopefully a good one.
Right.
That's kind of why we do it, right? It's to give people that, you know, were like me an example that didn't have one.
Right.
Because that would have helped me a lot if I had a you know, huge artist, like a worldwide known artist, just like one creating great music and getting the recognition for it.
Right.
Just as an example to look up to. So that's kind of what I strive to be.
No, don't play, don't play, don't play, don't play. No, don't play, don't play, don't play, don't play, no.
What's going into the creative process of making this album? What's a sound that we're looking for? What can we expect?
I still want to keep, you know, my original, the integrity of what people, you know, were drawn to me for, but just show an evolution, show, you know, more attention to the production, a maturity in that. I want to get a lot more melodic, a lot more musical in a sense. But for me, music was always an outlet, so I don't go into it really thinking, okay, I gotta create this. Like for me, music's always just, let's sit down, let's do what you love, and then let's, you know, kind of arrange your pieces after.
You know, the way you approach your music, I find is different. When I start thinking like, who is Anders influenced by? There's not a sound that I can pick and say, oh, he sounds like this guy, he sounds like that guy. What were some of your inspirations as you started to find your sound and your style of music?
Obviously, I'm always influenced by, I'm a product of my environment. So
Right.
the people in the city, obviously we have so many legends that come out of here now. So those are always great inspirations. But for me, I try to draw from every place I possibly can, whether it's, you know, not only music. Like, I actually try to draw from other music the least. I want to draw from film. I want to draw from art. Like, I want to draw.
So when we talk about film, what's that movie that you're in writing mode, you watch this movie and it's like, okay, this gets me in that mood?
There's no particular movie, but I like to throw on just classic movies, or like even those like kind of culty, you know, like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, like those kind of movies that you just watch and just like trying to interpret what somebody else is trying to communicate in an art form. And then, you know,
please tell me you're watching Donnie Darko then, if that's the case.
Yes, everyone, yeah, that's a classic. So you gotta just kind of take that and translate it into music and you know, try to create something as impactful, because they're just different canvases, right? One's, you know, visual and the other's audio.
You're hitting the road for a tour. It's the Summer 22 tour, right?
Summer 22 tour. I'll be bringing Don Valley and Roderick Porter with me. All of Canada, all the major cities. Touring is something that I've been eager to get back into, because obviously with the pandemic and, you know, not being able to be as present and physically there for your fans.
Right.
But, you know, just comes down to, you know, staying healthy, keeping your mind on track, getting ready for these shows. I want to remind the fans that there's more than just, you know, streaming the music. Like we're real people. We're people that you can come see, interact with. We're human beings. Yeah, absolutely.
You mentioned that Don Valley and Roderick Porter are on the tour. How important it is? You're not the new guy on the block anymore.
No.
It's been a while. So how important is it to you to kind of give that platform to up and coming artists? And what kind of advice are you passing on? I
feel like Toronto kind of has this thing where people don't really show love to other artists.
100%.
And I don't know what it is. Like if it's, you know, an ego thing or you know.
But at times that could be a misconception.
Yeah, like I just, you know, I just remember always feeling like a competitive energy, not just because it was there, not because anything was said or done.
Right.
You know, I got older, I got more mature, and I'm in a place now where it's like I wanna, like you said, have records with other artists like A.R. Paisley.
Big record with Forever Friday.
Or Forever Friday. Like I just want to be open. I want to be welcoming to other artists. I don't want to feel like, you know, oh, like, you know, now we gotta, you know, compete with this guy, and like I don't like that energy. And when you see cities like Atlanta, you know, where they're just so uplifting with each other, everybody helps each other, everybody does things for each other that just, they all get to benefit from it. Whereas here it's kind of like, okay, you know, like you kill what you eat, you do what you do here, and you kind of got to figure it out.
Now, like I said, you're not the new kid on the block no more. You've seen your ups, you've seen your downs. What's the one piece of advice you give that up and coming artist that comes to ask you for some advice?
I guess just don't lose sight of kind of who you are and what you're trying to accomplish. And there's things that'll come up. There's always moments, there's highs and lows. And when you're discouraged, don't quit.
Right. Good piece of advice. That's life advice, right?
Yeah, for anything really, but music too.
But it's not enough if I'm honest.
Anders, I appreciate you sitting down to chop it up with us. The single is out now, Come With Me. The video is out as well. I'm gonna urge y'all to run that up. Look out for the album coming in the very near future. And of course, he's hitting the road for the Summer 22 tour. Look out for that date sometime in a city near you. Anders, my guy, is always a pleasure. I'm sure we're gonna do this again as the career just gets bigger and bigger. Thank you again.
Thank you.